Pogostemon Helferi. Some people refer to it as downoi. Cool. I call it Pogostemon Helferi. It's easier for me. For whatever weird reason, it's easier for me. It has grown robust in the 150-gallon aquarium, and I wanted to show you guys how I deal with that. What am I going to do? How am I going to deal with it? What's going on? One of the first things that we got to do is really assess what's going on with this plant. Once we've got an assessment done, we can kind of figure out what's going on with this plant and what we got to do. In order to do that, I've kind of got to get my hands in there. It's one thing to look at it and see and go, oh, there's plants over here, there's plants over there, but it's very difficult to really pick out exactly what needs to be trimmed, what needs to be completely uprooted and trimmed, and either replanted or segregated into new plants, because Pogostemon Helferi sends out these little side shoots sometimes. It's not an always kind of situation. Sometimes it actually just grows up in one long stalk and never really sends out any side shoots, but sometimes it definitely does. And when those side shoots are long enough to become their own plant, it's time to trim those off and replant them into the substrate, which you'll see throughout the video here as things go along. Now, I mentioned that it's very important to get your hands in there to figure out exactly what's going on. I kind of wave my hands around to clear things up, and it makes it a lot easier for me to figure out exactly what's going on with this plant and see exactly which plant's got to get moved and stuff. Once that's figured out, then I just go ahead and start doing some trimming and replanting, pulling from the substrate, shaking off the roots. Very, very basic. What you're looking for is really bright white colored healthy roots. Give you a good idea of that the plant is doing well, and just continue doing what you're doing. This propagation method will lead to a lot of excess plants. If you're a local, or if you're somebody who likes going to the post office and stuff like that, definitely post them up for sale if that's something that you're into. Me, I got more tanks to fill with this plant, so I'm holding on to these ones because I'm going to be moving and propagating this plant for quite a while now. And I do have some future projects in the summer to show you guys some different methods of propagation that I think might be useful to some people out there. And so I'm continuing to propagate in tank. So I'm holding on to these ones. I'm not shipping them out to anybody. Replanting Pogostemon Helferi is quite the easy task, I got to admit. The one difficult part will be that we're going to trim the bottom quarter of the roots off in order to promote growth out of this plant. This is a pretty standard practice in gardening, and aquatic gardening is really no different in this instance. This being a stem plant that grows in an upward direction and eventually grows enough roots and sends out side shoots. But I'm not trying to promote side shoots. I'm trying to promote the actual growth of the main plant to get them larger and larger, which is what I want. Once they're planted, it's actually pretty simple. We're just going to allow them to continue to grow. I space them about 1 inch apart, sometimes a little bit closer depending on the spacing of the aquascape, but we're just going to pack them in. Large ones in the back, smaller ones in the front, and allow them to grow in. And we're going to stagger them height-wise with how we're actually planting them into the substrate. The taller ones, larger ones in the back, shorter, smaller ones in the front. This method doesn't do anything for the growth of the plant, but it does increase the aesthetic when viewing your aquascape. Thanks for tuning in. If you feel like it, go ahead and wiggle your little fingers all over the little subscribe button, the like button, the comments button, the blah, blah, blah. There's just like a whole bunch of crap that people are supposed to do now if you tune into a YouTube channel, I guess. I don't know. Do it if you like, do it if you don't. I will say that this channel is 100% fan-funded, so if you want to become one of those fans that's helping out funding, you can click over to the Patreon and do that. You can hit the join button down below and do that. You could, I don't know, maybe head over and take a look at some of the new merch that I got pressured into making new shirts. So we have new shirts and stuff again, and leggings and some other stuff. This is the lowest pressure sale ever. You don't have to buy anything, and I'm not even really encouraging anybody to buy anything. I'm kind of the worst salesman when it comes down to this kind of stuff, but I like making plant and fish videos, so hey, if you want to encourage it, you can. If not, you don't have to. It's all good. It's 2020. All right. Later.